Welcome back to the Factor Uncensored Spanking and Unprotected Sex. Stormy Daniels, a key witness in the criminal hush money trial for former President Donald Trump, took the stand today and went into great detail about the sexual encounter she says the two had back in 2006. The details were so explicit, the judge decided to strike parts of it from the record. Daniels also detailing how she sold the rights to her story to ex-Trump attorney Michael Cohen for $130,000 and signed a non-disclosure agreement. Former President Trump has denied any wrongdoing. University of Houston downtown professor Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld joins us to talk more. For most of the people who are not aware of what this trial is actually about, let's set that up first.
At the end of the day,
and criminal or civil?
There are both criminal and civil penalties potentially, but at the beginning of the day, it's civil penalties as associated with the damages associated with reputational aspects, and that goes through 4 different states. And then this leads into that confluence of political and civil damages. It's challenging. We'll say that. But Stormy Daniels' problem is criminal, and that is collusion, RICO, and a lot of these other statutes that we've seen. If you've seen American Gangster with Denzel Washington, these are the sorts of criminal penalties that the FBI, DEA, other organizations have sought to exercise legal influence over and reduce the instances of bribery, collusion, again, misrepresentation. So foundationally, it's going to be political and civil. Just and OJ, you know, God rest his soul, that's part of our influence on some of the ways that we can look at this. We're going to leave OJ alone. But some of these areas where we look at these penalties. But in this specific instance, the criminal aspects are what the New York Attorney General, and again, then furthermore, what the Georgia District Attorney, so forth, they're going to be looking at. And those are criminal charges.
Okay. And so from the testimony you heard today, what would be the most impactful, most damaging from your perspective?
Most damaging for Stormy Daniels, I'm going to say, is going to be the realization that there are other civil penalties associated with her reputation and relationship with President Trump that say, hey, I'm going to create a story that mitigates my damages. That is, if I owe you $100,000, if I can create $80,000 of liability of you towards me, now I've mitigated my damages to $20,000. For President Trump, it's a litany of areas. One is, she seems very credible. She's calm, she's collected, she's offering details of the hotel room, she's offering tile details, furniture details. In those senses, she's presenting as a credible witness who is reliable, and that for the prosecution is going to be just insurmountably damaging for former President Trump. The other aspect of this, though, is these receipts. Everybody says, bring receipts. Well, guess what? They brought receipts. And so every time that there is a hand-signed signature on a check from the former president to Michael Cohen, and there is a timeline that relates to damages associated with Stormy Daniels, I mean, it's difficult for anybody, a reasonably prudent person, to say, no, this is not related to some sort of collusion, bribery, or other criminal element of attempting to silence somebody. Again, it's a very tricky balance, and this is why we're going through this trial. Is it okay for me to pay you to say nothing negative about me? Most of us are going to say, hey, if I pay my child support, I don't want to hear you talking about me on Facebook.
Right.
Concurrently, this is the former president of the United States saying, you're not going to actually speak the truth about our sexual relationship, our interactions in these instances, and then to deny it. And then we go back to Bill Clinton, 1998. What is the definition of is? What does is mean, right? And so when you think about those areas, this becomes very convoluted, very challenging. This is where the judge has been very patient with the gag orders, right? We've only seen a few $1,000s in contempt fines, even though many attorneys have said, throw them in jail. No, we've only seen a few $1,000s in contempt fines because this becomes this very weird conflation of criminal, civil, and political charges.
All right. Thank you, sir. Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld.